For thousands of years, humans have been surrounded by animals. But some animals didn't simply live alongside us. They changed our civilization. They gave us food, clothing, transportation, companionship, and even materials that helped entire industries develop. Today, we're looking at 8 animals that humans have domesticated. And the last one is especially strange, because instead of giving us meat, milk, or companionship, it gives us one of the most valuable natural fibers ever produced: sheep. Let's start with one of humanity's oldest livestock animals, the sheep. Humans began domesticating sheep thousands of years ago, selecting animals for characteristics that were useful to us. Over generations, this changed sheep dramatically. Wild sheep naturally shed much of their wool, but humans selectively bred domestic sheep to produce increasingly large and useful fleeces. And that created something remarkable: an animal that could effectively grow a renewable coat of valuable fiber. Wool could be spun into yarn, woven into clothing, and used for warmth in some of the harshest environments on Earth. But sheep don't just give us wool. They also provide meat and milk, and their grazing behavior has influenced landscapes for thousands of years. So the modern sheep isn't simply a wild animal living near humans. It's the result of generations of humans deciding which characteristics were worth keeping. Cattle. Few domesticated animals have had a greater impact on human societies than cattle. Cows provide milk, meat, leather, and manure that can be used as fertilizer. But cattle have another important feature. Their digestive system allows them to extract nutrients from plant material that humans can't digest efficiently. Cows are ruminants. They have a specialized digestive system in which food is fermented by microorganisms before being processed further. That's why a cow can spend hours eating grass and eventually turn it into milk, muscle, and energy. And historically, cattle were useful for something else entirely: their strength. Oxen could pull plows, carts, and heavy loads, helping humans cultivate land long before modern machinery existed. In other words, the cow wasn't just food. It was also an engine. Chicken. The chicken might look ordinary, but it's one of the most successful domesticated animals on Earth. Modern chickens descend from wild jungle fowl from Asia. Humans selectively bred them for characteristics such as rapid growth and high egg production. And the result is an incredibly efficient source of animal protein. A chicken can provide both meat and eggs, while requiring relatively little space compared with much larger livestock. And there's another reason chickens became so important. They reproduce quickly. That means humans can raise generation after generation in a relatively short period of time. Today, chickens are found almost everywhere humans live, from small backyard flocks to enormous industrial farms producing billions of eggs and birds. A bird that once lived in Asian forests has become one of the world's most important agricultural animals: goat. Goats may not look particularly impressive, but they're incredibly adaptable. They can survive in environments where many larger livestock animals struggle: rocky mountains, dry landscapes, poor vegetation. And that's partly because goats are remarkably good at finding food. They can browse leaves, shrubs, and plants that aren't always attractive to other livestock. Humans have also used goats for thousands of years for milk, meat, fiber, and leather. Some breeds produce specialized fibers, such as cashmere. Others are particularly valued for milk. And goats have another advantage: they're relatively small. That makes them easier to manage in difficult terrain. So while cattle became incredibly important on large agricultural landscapes, goats became specialists. Small, adaptable animals capable of surviving where resources are limited. Dog. But not every domesticated animal was selected mainly for food. The dog may have been the first animal humans truly domesticated. Dogs descended from ancient wolf populations, although exactly when and where domestication began remains an area of scientific research. What makes dogs extraordinary is how closely they've adapted to human life. Over thousands of years, humans selected dogs for different behaviors and abilities. Some became hunters. Others guarded livestock. Some pulled loads. Others were bred for companionship. And today, the variation is enormous. A Chihuahua and a Great Dane may look completely different, but they're both members of the same species. And unlike almost any other domesticated animal, dogs developed a relationship with humans that goes far beyond agriculture. They became our companions, and in some ways, our partners. Cat. Then there's the cat. And cats took a very different path into our homes. Instead of humans deliberately breeding them for food or labor, early cats likely benefited from living near human settlements. Why? Because humans stored food, and stored food attracted rodents, which attracted cats. The relationship was useful for both sides. Humans got a natural pest controller. Cats got access to a reliable source of prey. Over time, this relationship became domestication. But even today, domestic cats retain many characteristics of their wild ancestors. Their hunting instincts, their climbing ability, their excellent night vision, and their extraordinary hearing. In fact, when your cat suddenly stops and stares at something you can't see, there's a good chance it actually heard something you didn't. Rabbit. Rabbits are another animal humans transformed through domestication. Wild rabbits are relatively small, fast, and cautious animals. But domestic rabbits have been selectively bred into an enormous variety of shapes, sizes, colors, and coat types. Some are bred for meat, some for fur, and many today are simply companions. But rabbits have another characteristic that made them useful to humans. They reproduce quickly. A rabbit's ability to produce offspring relatively rapidly can make populations increase surprisingly fast under the right conditions. And that's one reason rabbits became important livestock animals in parts of Europe and beyond. But there's something even more interesting about their history. Unlike dogs, selected heavily for behavior and working abilities, many domestic rabbits were transformed dramatically through selective breeding for physical characteristics. The tiny pet rabbit sitting in a home today can look remarkably different from its wild relatives. Silkworms. And finally, one of the strangest domesticated animals of all, the silkworm. Technically, it's the larva of the domesticated silk moth, and humans have been raising these insects for thousands of years to produce silk. The process begins when the caterpillar builds its cocoon, and the material inside that cocoon is extraordinary. It's made almost entirely from a protein called fibroin. A single silkworm can produce a continuous silk filament that can stretch for hundreds of meters. Humans collect these cocoons and carefully unravel the filaments. Several filaments can then be combined and processed into silk thread. And here's the remarkable part. The domesticated silkworm is so dependent on humans that it has lost much of its ability to survive in the wild. Adult domesticated silk moths don't fly well. They don't feed as adults. And they rely on humans to provide food and suitable conditions during their life cycle. Thousands of years of domestication have transformed a small moth into an animal that effectively exists to produce one of nature's most famous fibers. Sheep gave us wool. Cows gave us milk, meat, leather, and strength. Chickens gave us eggs and protein. Goats gave us adaptability. Dogs became our partners. Cats helped control pests. Rabbits became livestock and companions. And silkworms gave us silk. But there's something they all have in common. Humans didn't simply domesticate animals. We changed them. Generation after generation, we selected the traits we wanted. And over thousands of years, those choices helped shape the world we live in today.